Morning, everyone. Monday, March 2nd. Yesterday we talked about sensitivity. Did that touch anybody? Touch me? Touch you? Being sensitive. Why are we sensitive? Because we're human. Go figure. See that coffee cup back there with the star? I bought that at the Texas Capitol, Austin. And if you ever had the opportunity to take a tour of the Capitol of Austin, it's the biggest Capitol building of all the states in the United States. It's bigger than the Capitol at Washington, D.C. And it's such a cool place. Even the hinges said, Texas Capitol on the doors. The woodwork was phenomenal. If you ever have an opportunity to go to any Capitol building, you should walk in there and check it out. There is a lot of works of art. But I was doing the dishes with that, and I was washing that cup. That's my favorite coffee cup. Well, that's my favorite coffee cup to warm the coffee up, to put in the microwave. I actually drink out of this thing. But I was washing it when I put it on the counter. It says Texas on the bottom, but it says that, and you can't see the lettering. I mean, there's lettering there. It says made in Thailand. Are you kidding me? Come on. I would have paid a couple bucks more to buy an American thing. Maybe that, am I sensitive to that? Yeah, probably. Am I American? Yeah, I'm an American. And I'm a citizen. I'm born and raised here, pay my taxes. God knows I pay my taxes. They get a lot of money from me. You know that? Yeah, if I had all the money that I pay in taxes, I'd be sitting pretty. I'd be sitting pretty. And I'd probably have a bigger house. I could have retired a lot sooner and saved a lot more money. But maybe I'm being too sensitive. You think I was being too sensitive? There's different types of sensitivity. I'm paying bills. Well, that's not being sensitive. That's just being responsible. Is being responsible part of the sensitivity? The gardener's here. It's Monday. Henry's on the couch. See him over there on his little perch. Say hi, Henry. Here comes Hawkeye. Hawkeye has to get in the picture. They like being on the camera. I don't know how they know that, but they're sensitive too. The dogs are sensitive. I was talking to somebody, one of my relatives, brothers or sister, I'm not sure which one it was. But we were talking about my little sister, or we were talking about people who have died. And Brett. I was talking about my nephew Brett too. And I choked up a little bit, and Henry came up and jumped on the chair to try to console me. What a good dog. Sensitive. Maybe we can learn something from the animals. Because we're animals too. We eat animals. And I've been watching 1883, and God, tears just come down my. It's really touching, and to think about the people that came before us, how they got there. My great grandfather, John Wick, coming, to making a farm in Texas, in Schulenburg, and the Damos, the Damo and the Wicks. My grandma's maiden name was Wick. My grandpa's name was Damo, Frank Damo. God bless him. I put a 6-pack of Shiner beer on his gravestone when we were in Texas last September for the High Hill picnic, and I had a non-alcoholic beer with him, because I never had the chance to have a beer with my grandpa, and then after I drank the non-alcoholic beer, Emma and Simone were there, and they watched what happened, and I kissed the headstone on both Grandma and Grandpa, and I left the 6-pack right next to her so Grandpa could reach up and grab it, and I walked away teary-eyed. That's sensitive. That's a good sense. That's a good sensitivity thing. Feel the feelings. Those kind of, they're sad feelings, but they're good feelings too, because um, oh look, they're mowing my lawn. Yeah, mow my lawn all winter. Um, but anyway, getting back to sensitivity, it's a good thing. There's different things that we do, feelings and all that stuff, and um, you know, and the hole in the gut. You know when you're doing the right thing when you got the good feeling on the inside. You know you're not doing the right thing when you feel it inside your gut. You're filling that hole with stuff that we shouldn't be filling the hole with. You know. So anyway, God bless everybody. Do something for somebody else for fun and for free because you want to, with no expectation in return.